The
crown,
whoopsies aren't there.
they took the dips, but the crown is still there. They fixed the crown near Boyko's old service station where they had to fix the curb. They took the crown out. But it's a very detailed process to remove a crown. The whole road is crowned. And there's no side safety buffers on the side. It's very difficult for bicyclists to actually put their bike on Greenville Road. You can't walk on Greenville Road from the high school to 146. So
Right. By the crown, you mean it's convex in the middle.
yeah, the center of the
right?
road is higher than the
Yeah.
sides. So it's a dangerous road, and I wonder sometimes when you resurface, you just increase the speed of the traffic.
If I can just say something about resurfacing, reconstruction, or any of these roads, speed is an enforcement issue, okay? That's all it is. It has nothing to do with whether we repave it or not repave it. It's an enforcement issue. If people are going too fast, it's an enforcement issue. Call the police, let them set up radar, let people get tickets. Maybe they'll slow down. It has nothing to do with the road. As far as the crown of the road, depending on what you're doing, if you're putting the eye wash up, 2 inches of asphalt, and make it look pretty and feel nice for a year, right, you're not gonna fix the crown. If they're gonna mill and reshape, they will fix the crown. They might put up berm. So you gotta, what is being proposed for the road is my thing. You can't say there's a big crown and they're not gonna fix, no. You're gonna do what the design plans call for. And the DOT, I mean, they take a lot of heat. They're not that bad. I mean, they know what they're doing, okay? They put up signs. There's guides that put up signs because people think you need a sign here, and I'm going to show you where it is. I'd like to see professional engineering licenses and certificates of authorization to practice engineering if we're going to start dictating where signs go. DOT's very capable of doing that. If you think there's signs missing, call the DOT. I think Steve said it. They'll send somebody out and put up the appropriate signs at the appropriate places. The speed is simply an enforcement issue, and if you're going to repave, simply overlay, that's what you're going to get. If you're going to fix the road, reclaim it, reconstruct it, realign it, that's what you're going to get. You pay for what you get for it. Yeah.
The project just says resurfacing, but I don't know exactly what that means.
Resurfacing
It might
means...
not just mean resurface to RIDOT or to...
Right, it's resurfacing, but I'm sure, the RIDOT's not in the habit of just slapping 2 inches of asphalt on a road and calling it a day. They're gonna cold plane it, they're gonna reshape it. If there's a dip, they're gonna fix the dip. If there's a drainage issue, they may put up berm, they may put up curb, drainage swales. It's very seldom do you see somebody just back up the pavement, but there's a little bit of work. You gotta remember, 90% of the work, the reason why it costs so much, it's all subsurface. If they don't fix the base, you're gonna be fixing it again in 3 years. Crack sealing or doing something. So, if it's an adverse crown, they might put up, level it out one way or another. I don't know what the base is out there, whether they add pavement or cold plate pavement, but there's ways of engineering it to be fixed correctly. Again, DOT and most consultants know what they're doing, and they'll give the DOT a road that they need that functions properly.
Thanks, Jeff.
Anyone else who'd like to speak? Chair moves to close the public hearing.
Is that a motion?
It's a motion, yes.
Second.
Motion by the chair, second by Councilman Zawinski, Councilman Sully. Close the public hearing. Clerk, roll call, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs. Nadeau?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski? Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Mr. Ericson, this is time sensitive, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
You don't have to, it's going in Friday morning, you don't have to make any vote on it.
okay, all right,
You just hold the public hearing. Thank you. Sure.
all right, thank you. New business, item number 9. Discussion by council for other action on solar power purchase agreement, Energy Development Partners, authorization for signature.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Frank Epps, Managing Director of Energy Development Partners, 51 Industrial Drive, near Smithfield. It's a pleasure to be in front of you again today, but today I'm actually here at the pleasure of your solicitor to discuss a portion of the power purchase agreement that's been under negotiations with the solicitor and myself concerning Section 8.4, which is the remedies of default under the power purchase agreement. Before I go into that and ask the solicitor to comment on it, I do want to update you on one particular aspect of the power purchase agreement. Back in September, I reported to you that your first year savings would be $68,686 for the first year, with an average savings during the term of the power purchase agreement of $96,424. So I've been able to now qualify the actual net meter credit with National Grid since your approval of the power purchase agreement in November. And I made a mistake. I'm happy to tell you that the actual number is $76,388 for the first year, and a average amount of $106,768 per year for the term of the agreement. So where I thought you would be saving $2.4 million, I'm happy to say that we'll be saving approximately $2.7 million on an average, excuse me, for the total term of the power purchase agreement. And so with that, I would like to turn it over to your solicitor.
Mr. Chairman, I asked Mr. Epps to come tonight because the solar purchase agreement final form, we've been going back and forth on the final language. And recently, as about 6 o'clock, 5:30 tonight, we made a final change in the agreement. And I spoke with actually Mr. Epps through the help of Mr. Julian Dash, the town's consultant, to confirm that the language that the town is agreeing to in this power purchase agreement is one, there were a couple of objections I had, and I wanted to confirm that they were required by his financing. I was represented by Mr. Epps, and specifically it came down to Section 8.4, that he had some, what I felt very strong language in his favor against the town in the event of default. It's required to be there by, it was confirmed by his financing agent, but he did agree to have some similar language inserted for the benefit of the town. And I thought, we can get into the specifics of it. I didn't have time to do that because this got dealt with as recently as 5:30 tonight. We've been going back and forth for several weeks now on the final language. So really, Mr. Epps has been looking for a final document. The council authorized me to negotiate with Mr. Epps. I did that. It's concluded, if you want to see the final document before you authorize the signature, then I need time. Otherwise, the final document has been presented, is in our possession. Every change that I could make in favor of the town, I have made. Any change that I could not make, it's been explained to me that I could not make because of financing reasons. And I also, with the help of Mr. Dash, have confirmed that this language is not dissimilar to other towns who have executed similar documents. And finally, the language that Mr. Epps has agreed to in 8.4, I believe is
Reciprocal.
it's pretty typical as well.
No, well, actually reciprocal. Reciprocal
The
too.
reciprocal section is somewhat atypical, I guess, right? We did get something, I would say, more than other towns have gotten, but again, we can go through that, but I couldn't do it tonight because you don't have copies of it in front of you. But that's kind of the charge the council gave me when we authorized this about a month ago. So that's kind of what's happened. The negotiation has taken place, the document's in final form, it's ready for signature. If you really want to go through that document before you authorize that.
I do.
You do?
I do,
Okay.
yes.
Then what I would say is we can circulate that document to the council.
Yep.
And it's all redlined.
Question, Mr. President?
Okay, Jeff, I'm going to list it.
You want to read through it?
You can read through it, but I'm one that has to have it in my hand or on a screen to read. You know, but there's only so much audit I can process. Question, I hear loud and clear that it was kind of finalized, or at least the language you're comfortable with at 5:30. Is Mr. Pomley, as the finance director, had a chance to look at this yet?
No, he has not.
I think it's best that we all kind of just slow down, get a copy, review it, and we can put it on February 1st. If I may suggest we put it on February 1st.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can put in the redline document with all the changes.
We have a meeting in January. Yeah, we have one meeting this month.
Oh,
We're meeting this
oh,
month.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, one more, the next meeting in January.
Yeah.
Let's put on that one.
Is that why you were looking at me, Ms. Todd?
No, it wasn't.
Is that the 19th, the
Yeah.
Tuesday, the 19th?
Yeah.
We have a form that has all the red lines,
Correct.
We'll ship that out to the council.
Would you be ready for that for the 19th?
It's ready.
Oh, yeah.
We just don't have it tonight. So there was some time sensitivity, that's why, but as long as you can wait till the next January meeting.
That's not a problem, just as long as we have some sort of settlement on this during this month, so simply I can order equipment. And because I'm looking to start construction at the first sign of no snow.
Mr. Epps, does the 19th, does that give you adequate time?
The 19th will be,
Okay.
that I have no issue.
Mr. Cash?
Let me just note, I believe the 19th will be fine for some of the other work that we're doing on behalf of the town. We are looking at securing some additional grants related to all the renewable energy activities that the town is doing. The 19th should be fine, however, I have not had a chance to confirm that with one of the funding sources that we're seeking, which is the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation. I won't be able to confirm that until the 11th because the point person there is out on vacation. So I just want to let the council know that, I'm not saying let's approve it tonight. I'm just letting you know we're working on some things, and it may or may not cause delays, but I'm just keeping you informed of some of the activities we're doing.
Mr. Dash, does this, what you're explaining now, does that have any implications on a certain commission or something you may be receiving out of this trip? Oh, no. No?
Part of...
Yes or no?
Yes.
It does? Okay. Mr. Epps said no.
No,
for me.
No, strictly for
Okay.
the town.
It's two separate.
Two separate.
Yeah, I want to make sure. Thank you.
Well, that's basically all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Epps.
Thank you.
Discussion by council, vote other action on funding of, I'm sorry. Make a motion to continue this till
January 19th.
January 19th.
So moved.
Okay, motion by the chair, second by Councilman Zawinski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Ms. Alves? Yes. Mrs. Nadeau?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Mr. Zawinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Item B, under 9, discussion by council for other action on funding of technology purchases, Chromebooks, cards, cards for school department, Mrs. Nadeau.
I believe you're all in receipt of a decision rendered by the Commissioner of Education with regard to technology purchases and the fact that they contribute to the maintenance of effort. And the school committee on December 23rd sent you all a letter asking that, copying you on the ruling and asking that you fund the technology purchase for Chromebooks in the amount of $63,622.
I have a question for the solicitor. If this gets approved, this will go to the maintenance of effort. However, if the town purchases these items and donates them to the school department, will that not go to the maintenance of effort?
Interesting.
Chromebooks, was it last year?
Yeah.
And it was contingent upon the letter, and they, to me, if the town does something on its own, is benevolent to the school department, I can't see how we can be held responsible. Because if the town purchases it, not the school department, then it's our purchase, not theirs.
Again, I don't have the answer for you, but I want you to be clear that the Rhode Island Department of Education is very concerned with form over substance. Meaning they don't, not that particular fact pattern that you just mentioned, but when cities and towns try to circumvent maintenance of effort, they frown upon that.
Well, this was a
I
one-time,
just want you to be aware
but
of that.
this was a one-time purchase.
I believe that's where the Ryan is hanging their hat, is that Chromebook is a consumable. It's not like we bought them a truck or a mainframe or a building. We bought them a textbook in their eyes. Textbooks are consumables, consumables are maintenance of effort. At least that's how I interpret what their letter states. So it's the item itself is what makes it MOE. If we were to supply them with a new truck, not be part of MOE at all, that's the distinction, I believe, is what they're holding.
May I ask a question?
Okay, Councilman
Refresh
Zelinski.
my memory, was the purchase of Chromebooks contingent on it not being a maintenance of effort?
Correct.
Okay,
Well, that's what the vote of the council was.
right, okay.
I believe this is.
So that kind of brings me around to, we have a fund balance. Does the school committee have a plan for the utilization of the fund balance? Have you been supplied with any type of direction from the superintendent for how the fund balance should be utilized?
We're working on that.
Working on it? And we're meeting, what, February 1st?
Yes.
So,
We're supposed to have it January 16th at our next meeting.
okay, so would it not be more prudent that this council kind of continues this until you're provided with a plan, how to utilize the fund balance? And then we can meet on February 1st and discuss this? Does this make sense to anybody? Yeah, I'm seeing some heads nodding. Council?
Yeah,
So-
makes sense.
I would like to make a motion that we continue this to February 1st, joint meeting with the school committee, or it's a meeting we're gonna have. And at that point, hopefully they'll have some plan provided to the school committee on how to address the fund balance.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Zelinski, second by Councilman Nadeau. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs. Nato?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Lucia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nadeau. Discussion of council vote of action on survey of municipal buildings, Kendall-Dean and Municipal Annex. Mrs. Nadeau?
It was brought to my attention by Studio Nasia that we would need a full site survey of Kendall-Dean and Bushy School. We're no longer calling it Municipal Annex. It's either the Public Safety Complex or Bushy School, so I'm going with Bushy School. That we're going to need a survey on that. So we're going to have to start the process of, most likely, I would assume it's an RFP, right?
We can get by without it because it's a professional service, but it depends what the situation
When
is.
it's done by an engineer, and if it's done by a surveyor.
Technicality surveyor.
That's what I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say.
People use the term surveyor, well, they use engineer interchangeably
Right,
with surveyor and architect.
I was trying to make that
You need a
distinction.
professional land surveyor. They get very upset if you can call that anything else.
And the state statute does not refer, to my recollection, to professional land surveyors. So, I think it's engineers and architects, I have to check the statute.
The only thing I'd say, check the Board of Registration, Gary.
Surveyors are under the engineers board of registration.
So I think they covered, again, why it's so interchanged, engineers, architects, surveyors, I think we're all under the same board.
Okay, so what do I need, a bid process?
we can check to see whether or not, you either need to do if they are in fact covered under the professional services, then you can go out for a qualification. You can do it based upon qualification instead of based upon bids.
Okay.
You can do a qualification based, request for
Could you just,
qualification.
could we do it simply, rather than advertising an invitation for bid? Something similar to what we did with the engineer, with PAR, GRA, and VHB? Here's what I
I'm
said.
just gonna check the statute. It's either you're requesting a bid or you're requesting qualifications. It's either an RFQ or an RFP. It's one or the other. One or the other, unless, even if it's for professional services, it's one or the other.
Okay, so just let me know, and then at the next meeting, I'll make a motion to get that going.
That would be- If they fall under the architect and engineer, then you have that option. If they don't, then it has to be a bid.
Thank
Does that
you.
make sense?
Item 10 under new business.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Do you want to,
I was actually gonna ask if we can, move up item, I can,
I didn't see it specifically on there, I thought it was coming under.
we should have a PBIC running agenda item.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Ms. Todd, I get messed to this meeting. I don't see it on here.
I mean, I waited for nothing.
You did, because you didn't read the agenda.
I did read it, but I thought it was coming under Bushy School because it's still the same board.
I swear, you two sound like a married couple.
Don't. I resign.
I didn't, no.
Okay, so I guess we're
It's
done.
your fault, Paul.
Oh, there's somebody in the Valley Breeze will start blogging that, watch.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can't, that paper that I gave you, don't read it.
Okay, stop before you chase them away.
Item number 10, new business. I'd like to take item B first, if I may.
Yeah.
Discussion by council, vote on action on off-cycle capital acquisition of DPW clean cleaning truck, Mr. Pendergast.
Mr. President, just on the point of order, I'm not trying to add more work, but technically, because that issue was brought up by a member of the public, you can move to amend the agenda, add the item, discuss it, but you can't vote on it.
That's perfect, because that's all we need to do.
If you want to do that,
So stay, don't leave.
you can do that. If you want
Just
to-
when I thought I was out.
You're not.
Kid. Move them up so you can get out.
All right,
You want us to put them before you? Motion to have an update by Mr. Cardello from the Public Buildings Improvement Commission on road bonds.
All right, long story short, we had a meeting back on December 30th to talk
I
about
think you
road.
gotta make a motion to
I
amend. the
did
agenda.
make-
No, it has to be, actually has to be a vote.
Yeah, I know, all right, exactly. I
I
didn't
jumped
get a
the gun.
second, and there was no vote.
Do you want to amend the agenda to have Mr. Cardello speak on this matter?
yes,
That's the question.
okay.
Because it was brought up during a
Chair
public.
wishes to amend the agenda so Mr. Canal can speak on the PBIC road bonds. Second.
Because,
Second by Councilman Sullivan. All in favor,
I-
say
who
aye.
was that?
Say no against
Who
my-
wasn't
I'm
born?
sorry, I was having a sidebar. Was there a motion made?
Chair made the motion, Mr.
Well, I
Canal.
kind of had a motion.
Okay, and it includes because it was brought up during a public hearing, we want to make sure that that's in the motion? Yes? Was it? I didn't hear it. Okay, as long as it's in there, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, Mr. Canal.
Thanks.
It has to
Wait,
be a
we didn't
vote.
vote.
Ready to vote.
Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves?
Yes.
Mrs. Nato?
Yes.
Mr. Solly? Mr.
Yes.
Zabrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Okay. Now,
Talk
Mr.
fast.
Mr. Canal.
It's gonna be quick, I promise. We met on December 30th, talked about the road bonds. We had Carl O'Donnell PE and Keith McDonald PE from Park Corporation. To date, they've completed field reviews of all the roads suggested in the Casali study. They provided the board with 75% design plans prepared at 40 scale, full size, and 2 half size. They've also given it to us electronically, which I believe our chair will be posting to the Google Drive.
Yes, sir?
All 29 project roadways have been designed to the 75% stage. Right now, the design is on schedule. We're actually about a week ahead of schedule. The next thing was the project budget and the opinion of probable cost. Based on the bond, we have about $2.2 million to spend on road resurfacing and/or reconstruction, or improvements, is probably a better way. Based on the design prepared by our corporation at this point, we're going to be able to complete about 50 to 60% of the roads, not of the roads, of the entire length suggested in Casali's study. That really comes down to, it's explained because the Casali study suggested 2 inches of overlay. And basically that just makes people feel good. It doesn't fix the problem. Based on review of the roads by PAR with the DPW, they're proposing full depth reclamation of most of these roads. It's a little bit more expensive to do that work. It also puts down 4 inches of pavement to meet town standards. We've actually doubled the thickness of pavement. We're going to get about 50% of the length of the road. It makes sense. Doing this work is going to give us about a 15 to 20-year design life of the roads that we're going to be improving. If you put 2 inches of asphalt down just on top of the existing road, you'll be out there crack sealing them in anywhere from 3 to 5 years and fixing potholes in the same time frame. Basically, it's a feel-good feeling.
All right,
For a couple of
rework
years.
isn't efficient.
We're in agreement, the board is in agreement, we're gonna do it, let's do it right, let's get a design life of 15 to 20 years onto these roads, which is typical for road construction. We had lengthy discussion on it, and basically that's where we're going. Doug Allen, myself, and Mr. Pendergast and his staff are gonna meet this week to see if we can balance some of the quantity and quality. Basically, consensus is we're not going to do it. There's a list of roads in order of priority that's been discussed with the DPW. We're going to look at that to see if we want to maintain that, maybe reduce portions of a road, of one road. Iron Mine Hill Road is one road that's going to be done full length. We'll discuss it with DPW and again with PAR. If there's a half a mile stretch that isn't that bad, we don't need it. Maybe we'll delete that from the contract and do other roads. We're going to be putting it in as add alternates. That will enable us to have the roads designed, bid, and we'll just keep the contractor going until the money runs out. If there are 3 roads that are add alternates and we don't have the money for it, basically, they won't get done, but they'll be done in an order of priority set at this stage.
I have no questions.
Any
I
questions?
already knew.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for the update.
It's 6 to 7 miles of road. I think the Sally report had about 14 miles of road, and we estimate we'll be able to get 6 to 7 miles done.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to move on with the update.
Say it again?
No, I'm just, sorry. Okay, item B, discussion by council for other action on motorcycle capital acquisition of VIII.W Clam Shell Clean Truck. Mr. Pendergast.
Thank you. I'm here tonight to ask your permission to acquire a new catch basin truck for the Stetco clamshell. This is a little unusual. We normally go through the budget process through capital. But because of a situation we've got ourselves involved with around DEM, we need to expedite this process. Mr. Erickson's here tonight to kind of fill you in if there's any questions about the meeting with DEM and the strict guidelines and dates that we're up against right now. Just to give you a little history, the present truck that we have is a 1988 model that has finally died. And we've been having surgery with this truck every year for the last 5 years. It no longer works. So therefore, this past year, we borrowed the back truck, which is not a clamshell type, from the town of Burrowville under the agreements between a few towns. The problem with the back truck is that my personnel could clean 5 catch basins in one 8-hour day, as opposed to 20 to 25 with a clamshell. Seeing that we, and also in addition to that, the clamshell with some of our older catch basins, they're not cement enclosed. So they have at the bottom the stone and stuff, and with the vacuum, it was just sucking everything in the world out of them and causing all sorts of problems. It's just a major process with the back truck. Burrowville works for them only because they're up to date on their catch basin cleaning. So it's more of a maintenance issue with them. So, I guess we're here because of the strict issues with DEM. We need a truck. We need a truck anyway. We haven't had a truck. There's $30,000 in the budget, in the operational budget, to rent. That was a decision that I concurred with through the budget process this past year. I'm probably better off finding a needle in a haystack than finding a catch basin truck to rent. There is no such thing. I've been all over New England, they just don't have them. And it makes sense. It's not something that you go out and rent like on a weekend for, you know, to take a ride to the Cape. Nobody rents catch basin trucks. So therefore, everybody has to lean back on the municipalities to borrow. Well, unfortunately, when I'm borrowing from somebody, they're using their truck also. Woonsocket's truck's older than ours, so I don't even ask them. So this is what we're up against. We need a truck. We're in mid-cycle right now. The finance director can certainly fill you in on that type of the financing and how we're going to approach this. But I just want to throw out, and it was a discussion myself and Jason had today, with the 30,000 operational.
Rick, could I just hold you for a second?
Sure.
You have to make a
A
motion.
motion to extend the meeting till 10:30.
Chair seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Go ahead, Rick.
The 30,000 that we presently have, we were hoping to get the new Peterbilt truck and plow December 1st. We've now been told that's going to be April 1st. So therefore, I'm down a truck and a roof. So therefore, the 30,000, I've now had to kind of shift over for this other plow truck. So now we're renting 2, where I would have been renting 1 with a new one. So I didn't want you to sit there and say, hey, we got 30,000 tucked away here, we're ready to go. We don't. Probably have 25, we got 5,000 left probably.
What is the tentative cost of this clamshell truck?
Well, I have a quote, and we've quoted this for the last 5 years, all through the process. We're normally in the area of 150 to 200,000. Probably more closer to 150, 170 than opposed. I always like to go a little high on this in the event that we go out to bid and you say you can have 175 and the thing comes in at 190. I always like to give myself a little bit of a gap. But I think we're on the lower end of it somehow. The big thing on this RFP, if we get permission tonight to go out to bid, is going to be the lead time on these trucks. A lot of times when we go out to bid on the trucks, I don't see a truck's body return for about 6 months. That's because everybody in July and August is buying trucks because the municipalities have the money. I've been told we might have a better shot now because nobody's buying trucks because nobody has any money. So they're telling me 8 weeks to 10 weeks for the body to come in, and then Stedco has to do their thing with the hydraulics. So you're probably looking at 3 months down the road.
Question, Rick. If you're gonna spend, say, rather go on the low one, if you spend towards the high, that would be the heavy-duty suspensions and everything else that goes with it. Everything is durability, which will give you probably, I would estimate probably another 3 to 5 years extra service out of that vehicle.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Speaking of my mechanic today, I would like to spec it, only because when I was researching this, I'm thinking of speccing it two ways. Speccing it just as the truck with the clamshell.
Right.
Also, truck with the clamshell with the plow attachment on the front of it. I just want to see what the prices come in at. If it's not that big of a difference, it's another truck afforded to me to go out into the winter instead of sitting in the garage. So it doesn't hurt to bid it both ways, and we just come back and I look at it and I present that bid to Jason and move forward.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
So we look at a motion to have the Director of Public Works and the Finance Director go out for requests for bid, proposal?
This will be a bid.
Yeah, so moved.
Motion by Councilman Zawinski, second by Councilman Nadeau, to allow Mr. Pendergast and Mr. Fowler to go for bid for a clamshell truck with or without a plow.
Yeah, two options.
Two options. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Ms. Allen? Recuse. Ms. Nadeau?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay, discussion by council, vote or other action on scheduling public hearing date for abandonment of portion of McMullen Avenue. Mr. Ericson?
We have to advertise 3 weeks in a row, so you need to have a lead time. Deb, can you have the third one the same week as the hearing? Oh, no, it's okay, so basically, you're talking about a month. You need a lead time. I think this is our first abandonment we've done. I wrote the ordinance a couple of years ago. And this is just a case where it's wetlands, it's a paper street, open paper street, and there's no reason to bother with it. You do the abandonment on both sides. North Smithfield and Woonsocket split the land between the letters. That's it.
The question I have is that, if it's basically what you're saying is that, so wetlands, as you say, would that add to the tax loss?
Yeah, and add a little bit. I mean, it's also better than having just vacant land, because anybody can walk in there and nobody can throw them out. So it's always a benefit to abandon useless paper streets.
Question?
Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Bob, maybe I'm missing it, but I see McMullen Avenue on the small map plan you gave us. Where is that? Where's
You know, the idea, yeah, by Kia. Yeah,
Okay.
Kia's the next one down. The problem is that on a lot of maps, Stanley Street is mislabeled. It's a little 40-foot strip that's actually not a right-of-way. Stanley Street is a paper street that comes down below that, and McMullen comes off from that.
Okay, and this is to facilitate the building of a single what?
Single-family house.
Single-family home?
Phil Godfrey is the developer, and it seems to be a benefit for everybody.
And the house, I'm trying to look at this, the town line, it's going to be in North Smithfield.
Yeah,
The heads will be in beds in North Smithfield, right?
yes.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Mr. Erickson, why is Mr. Godfrey requesting this? Is he the owner of the lot?
I believe he is now, yeah, he is the Kendall Construction, is the owner of the lot. And he went to the DPW director in Woonsocket, and he said, okay, if you get it from North Smithfield, we'll give it to you from our side. But it's a tricky question, and you're gonna have to have them do a class 1 survey for this whole lot and the additional abandonment, because we wanna know how much land that is for tax purposes. But he has the right to request it again.
Does this proposed dwelling meet all setbacks in the town of North Smithfield? I'm trying to figure this out, Bob, you know, forgive me. I didn't
No,
know this.
there's a wetlands map that shows where the wetlands are. It's only in one section of the property in North Smithfield we could actually build a house, and he's gonna need relief on setbacks. Honestly, I don't know why he's gonna try to develop on that land. I think it's problematic.
Good question for the solicitor. They got, there was a confines of the letter. Says there's where we need to document why abandoned land should be divided among abutters. State law, I found makes the policy only for named municipalities and those over $100,000 population provinces.
Yeah, David and I have gone back and forth on this. This is where we're gonna have to figure out exactly how you split it up once it's abandoned.
Ian, you're asking the question?
I'm asking a question, is that,
Usually it's half to two individual properties on either side of the road. So theoretically, it would be, half of that would go to AP 3 lot 137, and then the other half, obviously it's not directly in half because of the awkward angle with Woonsocket. See that awkward angle with Woonsocket would be exactly, theoretically it'd be half, would go to the owner of, theoretically, and I'm looking for the other lot, now, is that map C1 lot 1.1, Bob?
Yes,
1-1,
one past dash 96, right?
is that it? Or is it AP 3 lot 109?
Well, both. AP is of course the designation for the North Smithfield, and map C1 is Woonsocket. You can see the delineation. I can't get enough out of this. It's basically, if Mr. Godfrey can provide us with more information, then, Bob, did you do this, or did Mr. Godfrey provide it?
No, this is what he provided.
All right. Yeah, I just need to see surrounding streets, and you bring up a good point, solicitor. Bob, when you rewrote, when we accepted the abandonment of roads, it still says the same thing, 50% on either side.
No, it doesn't, because I couldn't find the state law, that's before David came here. David, I trust David explicitly. If he says it's split in half, it is. When I wrote the ordinance before he came here, I couldn't find the state law that says anything other than towns of, cities of 100,000 or more do that split.
Okay. But that's what we always accepted, it was midline and the.
Right, I think it's just a policy of how you abandon it.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's how it's normally done.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need to schedule this, and I certainly.
Schedule the public hearing.
Yeah,
Public hearing.
need more information, I need to see a bigger picture or
Yep.
more detail. You could express that, to
Yep.
Mr. Godfrey. Hard copy for me, if you could.
and this building is going to be in North Smithfield?
Yeah, the house, the residents, heads and beds will be in North Smithfield. North Smithfield School System.
That's probably part of that is because of the lot.
That's never upset one child go to school. Never does. But okay, we'll take a look at it.
Not even close, actually.
No.
So we're going to schedule the public hearing?
Yeah, March or something. Well, we gotta advertise.
That's a good question, Mr. Erickson.
Mr. Ericson?
I think it's gonna put it back on you to
Bob,
advertise.
you just told me, but does this need to go to the planning board?
This go to the planning board, it says instruct the planning board and no comment.
So, are we waiting for the planning board to come back and then we schedule a public hearing?
No,
Now, what are we doing?
no, you schedule a public hearing, and then direct it to the planning board, and we'll have it back to you in plenty of time.
Okay, sometime in March, I think, you planning board, everybody. How do we look for March?
Fine,
Plenty of time for you to advertise, plenty of time for planning board, so first meeting in March,
March 7th.
March 7th. Okay, make a motion to put it on for public hearing March 7th.
Chair
Have the
seconds.
planning board review and their opine.
Chair seconds.
You sound like something totally different.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So, first, we had a motion, a second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay, discussion by council, vote other action on award of contract extension for highway department diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline, Mr. Conlon? Oh, Mr. Madigan?
It's the same thing.
Actually, the town of North Smithfield handles the state RFPs now for the state on all fuel, where Warwick used to do that a few years ago. What this is they had a meeting December 18th, of the participating municipalities cooperative purchasing, and they extended the contract for 1 year, a renewal on the original bid of 1 year last year. So they're going to renew for 1 year. They have another option for 1 more year after this one. So the prices stayed the same. Nobody's prices went up. Actually, our fuel price has been going down, which is a great savings for us this upcoming budget. So we're just asking permission to be awarded this contract January 1st, 2016 through December 31st of 2016.
Can I answer the question? You did, Jason, already. In lay people language, I see a lot of .03721 per gallon for gasoline. What is the price of a gallon of gasoline going to be?
Actually, December's prices averaged for unleaded $1.88 and diesel was $1.64. And since July, they've just steadily been coming down. Just to give you an example, in July, we were paying $2.46 for unleaded and $2.12 for diesel.
So, Mr. President, through you, is this a recommendation, of course, by the town administrator, the director of public works, and the finance director, y'all in concurrence? Okay, so we're looking for a motion off the agenda. Unless anybody else has any other.
I have a question, just clarification, really. This is where the buses fill up? The gas that goes to, they fill up at the DPW?
Yes, they do.
Are they diesel?
Yeah, they do.
They're diesel? Do you actually need a fire compression system for diesel? This is just kind of off topic, but
It's kind of funny because that's the second time I've heard that this week, but we're exempt because we're not a self-service gas station.
all right, good.
As long as we train the people, but I have to be honest with you, when this was first brought up to me last week, I've been thinking about this, and it may be my, I'm not going to get into this.
Okay,
In any event, I think it's a discussion that I'm going to have with DATCO and the school department about next year's, where they're going to fuel up.
okay.
We did them a favor with the history a few years ago,
Yep,
and it's kind of a headache for me, to be honest with you.
I agree. Anything that you bring before us, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up supporting.
And with the fire suppression unit, my personnel are trained. I train the bus drivers, but I'm not going to say that accidents can't happen.
Right, I mean, diesel's not as combustible as gasoline,
We have precautions out there. We have all of the precautions by the
Right.
state that we're supposed to.
but I totally agree with you. I wouldn't want somebody from some other company coming into my station, touching my stuff, and
Right.
possibly causing an issue where your guys can get hurt.
They now house them
Right,
in St.
right.
Paul Street, so they probably could work out a deal with whoever they're renting from there, and put a fuel source over there. So that's going to be a discussion I'm going to have in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Right, so you understand, there was an email sent out that I had asked for. No, there was dialogue up there, several council members discussed a question about fire suppression. So I know you got a copy of my response to that.
Right.
And quite honestly, because it's filling up with fuel, we're certainly gonna have to look at the contract with school buses or any other service provider in this town who's using our facilities to pump up at a reduced rate.
Well, actually, Fire Chief Jilson is the ultimate say in this
Okay.
whole situation. So he actually reminded me that I had to go before an appeals board, before the state board on that and the cell block situation years ago. So that's where that exempt portion came out of this. So we're all set for now.
Thank you.
So So,
Did we vote on that?
no, I mean, the
No
motion,
motion
right?
in a second.
No more.
No motion?
Okay,
Motion to,
hang on, I gotta find it so I do it correctly. No, totally had it.
First page C.
first page C.
No, okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to award a contract, Ray, you looking for one more year?
It's a one-year contract,
Oh, it's 1 year, to award a 1-year contract extension for Highway Department diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline. That's the motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Zawinski, second by Councilman Nadeau, to extend this contract 1 year. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs. Nato?
Yes.
Mr. Silver?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes,
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Item D, discussion by council for other action on abatement, Mr. Conway.
The item up for abatement in front of you today is for a registry error where the registry's chief of support services has sent a letter to our tax assessor stating that they made a transposition on a plate and that they request us to perform an abatement for their error. I believe in the package you see a detail of Ms. Hartman's bill and additionally the letter from DMV stating their mistake. The dollar amount of this error was $179.75.
yeah, if I may, Mr. President. At the last meeting, I asked the question why the tax assessor doesn't appear to give these to us. I know Mr. Palmer's well versed and he can answer it. But I have to say, I would like to see the tax assessor present at these meetings to present abatements to the town council. So, for that very reason, I'm not gonna vote for it. I don't think you should hold it up, but it's starting to become a matter of principle with me. We have, it's not on the agenda yet.
Okay, Chair moves to accept the abatement of $179.75 due to a registry error. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by the chair, second by Councilwoman Nadeau to accept the document. Is there any further discussion? Hearing that, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs. Nato?
Yes.
Mr. Silver?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Not voting.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Discussion by council for other action on appointment of tree warden.
Is this a case where, is Mr. Zuber still wishing to?
Yes.
Huh?
I sent him a letter, he actually called me back today and said, yes, he would still do it.
That's what a great service. Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to make the motion to reappoint Mr. Zuber of Stanley Tree Services to be this tree warden in town of Smithfield.
Second. Motion by Councilman Zawinski, second by Council Solly, for Mr. Zuber to be our tree warden. Is there any further discussion? Hearing that, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Mrs.
Yes.
Nato? Mr. Silver? Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Discussion by council for other action on approval for a new pole location on Tiff Road by National Grid for authorization for signature.
All right, so I actually looked into this, believe it or not. So basically, National Grid's looking to add a new pole set. In doing so, with the weight in the form of the road, they need to keep an anchor pole across the street as well. So it's actually 2 pole locations they're trying to put on. So basically, pole 27-50 on the map would be a new pole location. And pole 27-B4 would be an anchor pole. Basically what that pole does is it supports the weight of the poles across the street. So existing pole 28 has a transformer bank on it right now with aerial to underground utilities. It's fed from your east from pole 27. So basically they want to put that anchor pole in, a new pole. Anchor pole is going to support your weight, so if the poles ever fall away from the street, that's what's going to support it, okay? It's basically the anchor poles there support the weight. You see that a lot in road curvatures when they're adding equipment, and also if there's any soft land over there, if there's any wetlands or whatever, so you'll see those anchor poles. So basically, from what I got out of it is they're dropping a new pole and they have an anchor pole across the street.
for elaboration, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Dick.
Council Solly may not want to admit they took a road trip with me on Friday, but.
Well, we went down, we
Yeah.
looked at it, but I actually asked that work about it too, if they knew anything about it.
That's where the engineering comes in. Basically, there's swales on both sides of the road that aid with drainage, and that's one of the reasons they want that anchor, that anchor pole. I didn't have a problem with it. So, do I make a motion?
How does it, I have a question, how does it anchor above the road?
Well, it can anchor multiple ways, so, the pole on the north side of the road, a true anchor pole, it's gonna have a down guide to a support pole, and it's gonna go into the ground, be driven into the ground, it's gonna be an earthen, anchor.
Yeah.
Over there, it may go into a tree, further back into the woods, just depends on the makeup of the land. If they can't get a solid bite in the ground, it'll go to a tree.
Okay.
One other thing, could someone contact National Grid and please inform them that the Director of Public Works is Mr. Raymond Pendergast? Please.
Okay,
Phil
okay, do we have a motion on the floor?
Okay.
Council Sullivan?
Yeah, make a motion to approve, adding pole 27-50 and pole 27-B4 on Tift Road for National Grid.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Sullivan, second by Councilman Nadeau. Is there any further discussion? This will be for the authorization of signature by our town administrator. To do so? Any
Whoever
further,
needs to sign it.
any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Nato? Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Zalinski? Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay, discussion by council, vote on action on appointments of boards and commissions.
You want to go to executive session? Have Mr. Russ here?
You need to plan?
Yeah, let's do that first.
I didn't realize that.
Okay. Motion to go into executive session?
No,
Well, no, just,
Boards and commissions.
Oh, boards and commissions, okay. Sorry. There's four items on the docket dealing with boards and commissions, one's Parks and Recreation. Is there any?
I have Mr. Michael DeRocher, who wants to, he's also on the ad hoc committee, and he feels that he's not doing enough. He wants to help out more, so Parks and Recs for him. He's got 2 kids coming up into the school system, and happy to help.
so that's your nominee. I certainly make a motion to support that from the town, the administrator's nomination, appointment, excuse me.
Okay, seconds. Is any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves?
Mr. DeRocher.
Mrs. Nato?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay, there's a letter here from Sean Malcolm. He's interested in serving on a board. It says either the redevelopment agency or planning board.
I have a personnel board appointment I'd like to make for Suzanne Bernier, so they have a quorum. To reappoint her to that. She's been on for years and
Okay.
So,
All right.
wants to
okay,
continue.
I'll make a motion to accept the, or to, whatever we do.
Personal vote
Sure,
for Suzanne
appointment.
Bernier, down the personal
Yeah,
board.
absolutely.
Chair seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Nato? Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay, we had a letter from Sean Malcolm. He wished to volunteer for a board, either the redevelopment agency or the planning board. Is there a specific need, town administrator, as to which board he?
I think redevelopment agency, they're down 1 or 2, yeah.
Do we-
Down
two.
1.
Do we know Mr. Malcolm? Does anybody know him personally?
I don't know, no, he's, Mrs. Todd, he's been asking for a long time, right? Isn't that the
Yeah, I
gentleman?
don't think so. I just got this November 30th.
Okay.
First
Without knowing the gentleman, I'd be hesitant to appoint someone. That's just
What his
Their
background
appointment.
is?
a little bit more on his background.
Well, I would nominate him for redevelopment agency completion of 1 5-year term that expires December 1st, 2016.
Chair seconds. Gives the gentleman an opportunity to serve, and if he likes that particular board, I think we can do something at the end of the year. So there's a motion by Councilman Nadeau, second by the chair for Mr. Sean H. Malcolm to be part of the redevelopment agency. Completion of 1 5-year term that expires on 12/1/16. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Alves? Yes. Mrs. Nadeau?
Yes.
Mr. Solly?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Okay.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes. Okay.
That's a yes, Miss,
I got that.
I know.
Okay, so the planning board is, will be making it for this time, town administrator?
That's their appointment, I don't.
Yeah, no,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we'll just continue that one.
Okay, we'll continue that one. Okay, executive session.
And I think you should just also add a little time to the meeting, because we only got 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's 10:30, let's go to 11.